This is pre-priming that Scott was doing yesterday. He's left it out here on the shop floor. But it's the exact same thing that we're trying to do for the fence, although there's a lot more material for the fence. We want to set it up so we can put an even coat of primer. I noticed here that he hasn't yet put any primer on the end grain. This is a fence that a client of ours is putting onto their house to replace an existing fence. Their primary concern is to have a fence that lasts for as long as possible. It's a beautiful house in Mount Baker, and all this wood, the cedar, was delivered to our shop.
You guys want something to drink?
And we will be priming all 6 sides in a controlled environment with an oil-based primer, and then putting a top coat before installation. I don't know if the carpenter loves the idea of cutting painted pieces of wood, but we appreciate him working with us. The reason why you want to prime on all 6 sides is you can get paint onto surfaces that once the fence is, if the fence were constructed and not pre-primed and finished, the end grain in particular and other substrates where the wood is adjacent and those surfaces aren't coated, there's additional water entry. Rates of expansion, contraction are different. And over the long run, and the long run meaning 10, 15 years, there's premature failure. When you can prime all 6 sides, the data proves that you have a much longer lasting finish. And you'd be surprised the cost is not that much different. But for wood, one thing you want to keep in mind, well, not just wood, any substrate that's going to be painted or stained should be tested for moisture. The 2 most common that are the 3 most common surfaces tested for moisture are wood, GWB, and concrete. This is 12%. Since we've had time to plan this project out, we can try to let it dry out a little bit longer. Since we have the time and the opportunity, we are going to stack this up and let it dry out a little bit more, because there is a positive correlation between how dry the wood is and how much material can be absorbed into the surface. One of the beauties of the Sennheiser wireless microphone system is that you can walk up to 150 feet away from the receiver and still be able to get really super clear audio. So we've made room in one of our finished rooms. This is actually our sample room. And we know from the moisture meter that this was 12% moisture, and that was just from the sample piece that I'd taken. Although when the material was delivered yesterday to the shop, we had some pieces that were up to 15, 16% moisture. So we have a system where we're stacking up our material evenly. This is not anything like kiln drying. We're just trying to let the material dry just a little bit more. And we're trying to distribute the weight evenly so that it will dry at a consistent rate. Plus, I like doing this because on Saturday when no one's here and there are no distractions, I can be successful at stacking.